Thank you for watching episode 24.
We're out in the 315. Funny part is I know the lady who works in here. I gave her a bud last week. What's up?
You said you gave her a bud last week.
I did. Hospitality. Shout out to In the Mix. Check that shit out. Well, I'd like to welcome you guys to Mr. Z's Hump Day podcast, actually filmed on Tuesday this week. The show is where we elevate the discussion revolving around New York State recreational cannabis rollout amongst the plethora of other topics that exist within the current standing of our community here in central and western regions of New York. Thank you for joining us as we dive into episode 23 of a show that initially started by accident and kind of became a staple in my life and as a way for us to all kind of get word out as a community. Today we're pleased to be hosted at the Market 315, which is an educational community center geared towards teaching more to the public about our beloved plant, cannabis. We're joined today by a few upstanding and active members of our upstate New York cannabis community. We got D, rep for Organic Roots 315. Say hi, D.
Hey, what's up?
We got Sean, co-owner of the Market 315, founding member of the THC, the Herbal Center. You gonna say hi?
Hello.
Okay, cool. We got Bree, owner of Baby Dolls Bud & Co. and co-owner of the Market 315. Oh shit. We got Lewis here. You guys know Lewis, but say hi.
How's it going, guys?
LG with the CRV. We got Drew Lee McBurger Bun,
What
aka MC Chris. Advocate, enthusiast, educator here at the Market 315. So firstly, I'd just like to thank the Market 315 for hosting us, and I'd like to thank all of you guys for being here, quite frankly. So,
It's our pleasure. Absolutely thrilled to be here, man.
wonderful. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some of the upcoming things in the community, just some of the, excitement about the changes that are being made to bring or to promote a more active relationship with this plant, or to promote the public to have a more active relationship with this plant, and know more about what it does, right? Because if we know more about what it does, there's no way in hell they're taking this plant away from us again.
Can't take it.
Yeah, man. So we usually lead in with yeah, man. We usually open this up by I like to, just get a story that you guys may have about your first time smoking or something like that. Me and Lewis have already gone a bunch of times, so maybe we'll start with Chris here. Tell us about a little story about your first time smoking, or what you use cannabis to medicate for, or just I don't know, something you'd like to bring up. Some funny shit.
What?
He smokes weed.
What?
And that's cool. So
one time I had Popeyes. And
I didn't start smoking weed until I was out of high school.
Yeah.
And it wasn't really a cool I don't know. I just skipped the skip, but
yeah, to not have to be in school.
Actually, my senior year, I was at JCB High School. They called my nickname was Fluffy because of my fluffy buds that I had. But probably was more like my hair. But yeah, I guess I don't know. Then they called me Fluffy. I guess that's sort of like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of I think we're gonna bring that back.
Yeah, fluffy nose. That's a good thing.
I got on patient rights by advocating in Trenton, New Jersey. I'd take the train down to Trenton every Thursday and protest patients' rights with other people who wanted to learn more about the plant, and then we would have meetings at the coffee shop afterwards and get to know the families and shit.
That's really cool, man.
Yeah, that's where I fell in love with it.
Yeah, we find a lot of mean, it's like tacky to say, or like it's cliche to say activism, but really fucking cannabis activism, advocacy, and enthusiasm amongst the community. How about you, Bree? What is like just something that sticks out for your reasons for why you began medicating with this plant, or what may prompted you to learn more about this plant? And
I've been smoking since the ripe old age of 13. So it's always been a part of my life. Cannabis has always been really open in my family as far as the older generations. So
yeah.
it's just something that's been passed on down.
Mhm.
But you know, in general, I think my real passion for cannabis past just, you know, getting high with my friends is when I started working at 420 Emporium, because in my early 20s, maybe 20 years old, and just getting to educate people purely based on the tobacco products and, you know, what we could do with different percolators and different ways to ingest or, you medicate yourself was really interesting to me, and that started all of my like in-depth passion for everything else.
Nice. And now, like, I'm sure that you're finding that many of us, we all just can't imagine a life without that, or a life without being an advocate or an enthusiast. No, that was very wonderful. Thank you for sharing. And Sean, how about you? Just something that sticks out, or something that you'd like to touch on about the plant, and like maybe just like when you started, or you know.
To be honest, like I had a fucked up childhood. So I smoked since I was like 12 years old.
Fuck yeah, man. I mean, terrible, but like,
yeah.
Fuck yeah, drama. Like,
I've been smoking with Sean since I was 13.
Yeah,
Nice.
I was
okay.
I did not
Nice.
sell weed to kids when I was. But anyways,
You were a kid still, it's
that's
fine.
true. Like I have a son who's about to be 13 on
I'm pretty
Thursday.
sure you're past the statute of limitations right now, so
Yeah.
you're good. You're good.
And he was like, Dad, I want to smoke weed. I'm like, I don't know about that, buddy. Like, I don't mind you getting high, but you can't smoke it. Like, I started explaining like the brain shit and all that, like yada yada. But my big thing about all of this in the community and all that is that we have grown up in a world. All of us know this word. There's this big stigma around cannabis, right? It's this horrible fucking thing.
Gateway drug.
Gateway drug. All
Yup.
this. And
Dare
now
to
I
care.
have friends who used to be heroin addicts that got used weed and mushrooms to get off of drugs.
Fucking
I
right.
mean, people that are pill addicts that use weed to get off of drugs. And I mean, with most of the prescriptions that you have in the world right now, like weed can replace those in some way, shape, or form. But I want my kids to grow up in a world where, and it's going to be a couple generations before it happens, but if we all do it the right way, we won't have that stigma to it in a couple generations. Jimmy, when my son says, hey, I want to smoke weed, it's not because he wants to escape from the world. My son's an honor roll student. He loves life. I mean, obviously I own a business, right? So like he has everything. He has a chance to earn everything that most kids don't have a chance to have. So it's not like he just wants to do it because to him it's not this. Jimmy, it's just this. Hey, my dad
Because it's
does
not
this, and
taboo.
it is.
Yeah, it's not taboo. Same
His
thing
friends
as
don't smoke weed and shit. Jimmy.
same thing as somebody drinking and setting that example, even if it's just a beer or something like that. Like, not for nothing. I feel like us preparing the younger generation is how we're going to avoid anybody having car accidents, because they're going to prepare for it. We're going to teach responsibility, not only just with cannabis, but whatever they choose to whatever they happen to get involved with or decide
Everyone
to try.
has a fix of something, right?
Well, I mean,
caffeine, whatever it is.
Yeah, and like at least I feel like that might set the stage or precedence for a much.
I honestly think each
Better
generation
outcome.
going forward, as far as I've seen, and a couple generations before us, the drinking while driving rate, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
it
man.
definitely it goes down with the education. Same as smoking cigarettes and stuff like that, because
That's why it's
the
back
percentage
over switching
the
again.
percentage of people that smoke weed openly went up like I think 8-9%, which is a huge jump. It's the biggest jump that they've ever seen of people admitting that
Right.
they smoke cannabis.
More people than
But-
who's consuming chocolate. Actually,
I'm so proud.
the crazy
of
part.
you. I just fucking with you.
But then they were doing the same study, and cigarette usage has gone down like the same 6%, which is this drastic cut from
reduction.
anything
Yeah.
that they've seen anytime in the last 15-20 years. So the education's out there.
Who here has,
People
how
are
many people
learning.
here have kids? The kids. All right. So questions, just the three of us, right?
I'd say, yeah.
Oh, I didn't.
He said
He
you.
can't put his hands up because he's rolling, so I can't. It's cool. I thought he was just like.
Do that now.
But so, would you genuinely, and I know you guys do party and bullshit, but would you genuinely rather have your kids drinking or smoking on a regular basis as adults?
I'd rather, as adults, absolutely.
Oh.
I want them to do whatever they're gonna
That's not what I
do,
asked you.
but smoking
I know that,
for
but
sure.
like-
Smoking, well, because not for nothing, dude.
Yeah.
There's so many benefits to it, dude. I'd much rather have them. Honestly, if they're adults, I'd much rather have them smoking my weed that I grew for them
Yeah.
or something when
Oh,
they're
yeah.
when they're that age, dude.
Like,
I'd
right,
rather
going
grow
out
it for
once a
them,
week
dude.
with the dad and shit,
If
that's
they
fine.
choose,
If they
to
choose
do that,
But it's
absolutely.
I don't think
My kids could not want to do
My
anything.
10-year-old daughter, I
I know.
honestly don't think she'll ever smoke weed. I don't think she ever will. She's just like, whatever.
Well, that's
Next
cool
one,
because,
probably
bro, if
not.
she could raw dog life like that, bro, power to you, man. I'm
I-
just,
I
you
need a
know.
condom in
I
my
have an
exact
adult
condom.
child.
yeah, man.
I think I'm actually
Yeah.
I think I'm actually the only one here that actually has a physical adult child.
Oh, nice.
I have a 23-year-old.
You are an adult child. That's fucked up.
I know, right? I know. But I have a 23-year-old, and she hid smoking weed from me, but before it was legal, because she started when she was, I think, probably 15, 16 or so, and she definitely hid it from me. But I could tell that she was getting it from me because I could follow the little weed nugget stash. She'd leave a fucking crumb trail behind. And I'm like, all right, well, at least you're getting high on my shit, and you're not out here
They can't
like,
outsmart us.
buying stuff
Smoking
from some
waste
corner
shit.
store or like getting.
That's my
Some
biggest worry.
scary
There's-
stuff.
listen, we live in a world where fentanyl's in weed. Like, think about that. Like, there's still like that aspect you have to worry about it. It's not you can't.
There's more
I
than
don't want my
fentanyl in
kids-
weed, my
Well,
friend.
yeah.
There's
But, like,
way
I
more
don't-
in weed than
listen, I don't-
fentanyl that you should be
I don't
scared
want
of,
my
bro.
kids going to Wolf Street Market to go get fucking weed. I'd rather have
Yeah.
my dad to get it because we know where we're getting it from, right?
Oh, for
I
sure.
know everyone at this table cares about what they put in their body. Some of us even don't
Now.
eat cheese. Like,
Nowadays, for sure.
Nowadays.
When I was
That
younger,
was 20 years ago.
We all
I
remember the
can't
days
eat
of.
cheese.
I mean, as far as
I
like,
can't
on
have
it with
cheese.
a
and guys, I just want to remind you guys, let's try to have one conversation going at a time. And I'm not trying to be a dickhead. It's just hard to pick it all up. Yeah, fuck all of you, absolutely, except for the hosts.
Is it because we're cute?
Absolutely, because you guys are cute.
Well, we're all hosts, technically.
So I guess maybe that would be a good segue into, as we've watched this roll out over the past 2 years now. So as we've watched this supposed rollout, which is still kind of halted up in New York State, and it's halted up, it's legal, but they don't want us doing it, but they want to do it. But as you watch that, is there anything that stuck out to you that you would like to touch base on? Truly, anything stuck out, whether a positive or a negative, about when it turned legal?
Oh, just like there's a flood of freaking like leftover shit from California.
Yeah, last year's crops.
Yeah, and like
So
you know.
cheap.
products that totally sus. We need New York products.
Well, give you one slight pushback on that. We need New York products to be better, and then we need New York products.
Well, how would we know?
Yeah. It depends
Legal-
on where they source.
How
it
would
from.
we know that New York State products are? And this is another expansion on that answer. Then, how would we know what New York State products are quality and aren't, unless we have reasonable means or access to testing,
That's true.
consistent, accurate testing?
Well, I will also say that sometimes you can get testing and it'll tell you that there's no pesticides or this THC level, yada yada.
Yeah.
See,
But
but
it doesn't
that's
necessarily tell you, hey, this hash rosin has a better quality than this hash rosin.
well, certain ones. Absolutely,
Right.
and to some degree, it has to be some
But what I
standard.
meant by original thing is like if you go to, and I won't mention names because this is not a jab at anyone, it's not their fault. If you go to any of those newly opened legal dispensaries around here, and you go check out the product for the price, and you go, oh wow, that's really not good flour, because New York State dragged their feet, and now what they have is, and anyone that knows growers that have licenses that have been waiting, they have back piles of wheat. They're just waiting because there's not enough stores, so the wheat you're getting to the stores has been sitting. It's not fresh, it's not great wheat, and it's been sitting forever. So it's
Oh, worse. Actually, a lot of those, especially, they were cut down, cut down, vac packed, and then spent some time in somebody's fucking grandma's basement, and then it got driven across the country through constant temperature variation, killing the terp profile. Hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, 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 hotter, cold, and then it sat in somebody else's grandma's basement for another 6 months before it came out to a lot of people. And that's it's just unfortunate because when you have the sort of environment that encourages people to outsource to places like California, one conversation at a time, please, then you have all of the finances from that potential marketplace, and the revenue then goes to that economy rather than sustaining the New York State legal market. And instead of them focusing on killing off all the out-of-state things, they go, no, let's turn to the people who, I don't know, provided the service that New York State refused to do when they said it was legal but didn't give us reasonable access to the meds. I don't know. You know what I mean? Anybody want to touch base on that?
Their best interest at heart.
I mean, we don't really. All along, I'm sure if anybody were to tune into, if anybody were to tune in at any point to any of the previous episodes that I hosted, I'd say that you saw that we tried to give these people a fair shake, and there's just kind of been a lot of fuckery. Frankly, the same fuckery that we saw in the rollouts in California, Washington, Oregon.
I'd say worse even. To be honest, think about it.
But what I mean is it's the same red tape.
It's the same bullshit. It's the same
and especially all while shaking our hands and saying equity and fairness and power to the little guy. All the things that frankly New York State represents across the country. So it's just disheartening because I know I was doing like a lot of coverage on the Q&A videos for the card implementation, and it like you watched the community. I'll just say the community instead of ours, because it doesn't belong to everybody. But you saw everybody sort of be like, wow, that seems like we try to give them a fair shake. And then when we see them create this sort of environment that not only sustains black market, cheap outsourced debt packs from Cali,
Zaza,
it feeds it though, bro. And like, it's crazy because meanwhile, people are getting things like synthesized terps, and it's fucking nuts, dude. Auto flowers that are fucking sprayed. People are tumbling weed in fucking trichomes. There's all kinds of unethical practices that are encouraged and promoted by the precedents that they've set by not giving power to the people, I guess. And I guess that, usually we like to remind people that nobody is doing anything wrong unless you're 21 or under 21 by loving this plant. Nobody is. I would say wait until your brain is developed fully before regularly partaking in the plant, because it can hinder the brain's development in early stages, or as we know it as it stands with modern science. But again, we're not doing anything wrong with this plant. We're seeing a lot of pushback and a lot of that almost where federal law conflicts the state law bullshit that happens. And I've been wondering, when do you think we're going to see DEA guys pop out?
So, well, they supposedly, the federal government, one of the guys that speaks for Mr. Joseph Biden Jr. just announced supposedly, I will come right out and say I think it's a political move because it's right around the time we're going to have elections and shit.
Of course.
They say by the end of the year they're going to address and they're going to try to have a recertification for the class of drug that cannabis is.
Yep.
Which really means they're not going to do anything, but they're going to let us.
They're going to say they are
next year. I don't think the federal government's going to come after anyone here for one reason. I know some people that work narcotics in the FBI and Homeland Security in New York, and the one thing they'll tell you is the federal government wants the vaping bill to go through so bad because they're going to make millions and billions of dollars just on vape transactions.
Yep.
So once they don't care if it's legal federally.
Because they want to back the banks. They want to back the banks.
So they're going to worry about that first. If that doesn't pass for some reason, then maybe in 12 months you might see the federal government come in and say, okay, we're going to take some of this shit. Because they did it in Cali for a while.
Well, what we do need to see is we're almost to majority, aren't we? We're getting there. We're really getting there, especially with congratulations to Maryland has recently, and Minnesota actually has joined.
Alabama.
Gave
out its first medical marijuana fucking
Let's
thank
go.
you for reminding me. Let's
Alabama.
go fuck Alabama and Texas.
Guys.
That's the two states where I'm like, there's no way your cousins are gonna marry each other and let you guys open up a motherfucking weed store. And they're gonna.
They did.
Love it.
They
Love
did.
it.
They did.
And I like the fact that now you can own a gun with weed because they said no, you said that whole not getting a gun license but having a weed card and all their store. They said that's unconstitutional.
Yeah.
So did they? That means that we might see an uprising of police officers, because that was the one reason I was getting denied when I tried to give police officers joints was their sidearm.
Yes. Syracuse cops are allowed to smoke. I know that
Let's
for a fact. They announced that last year.
fucking go, dude. I want to start a special
Onondaga
today.
County sheriffs
They
aren't
need to
necessarily
smoke
allowed
shit.
to, but they're not supposed to be tested anymore because Fitzpatrick was like, nah, we're good.
I got you.
I think that's another thing people don't talk enough about. The OCM only has as much power as the district attorney is also allowed them to have.
There's
The
some
district
shit that they
attorney
could do.
Still has to prove them using the cops to come in and do it.
Well, they aren't using the cops. So actually, then I'm sorry to cut you off, but
That's also
what we've been
the
seeing
one
is
thing
people in
without the
OCM.
cops,
We've been
that's
seeing people,
unconstitutional.
but we've been seeing people in OCM enforcement jackets, and they no
Which is
cops,
illegal.
no cops. I don't know, because there was also
I
that
mean,
conflict
you'd have
with.
to have the money to fight it. But
What do you think, D?
He's so quiet.
So what was one thing you saw about the rollout? Was there anything you noticed in the rollout that was either pleasing or displeasing to you with the rollout of legal cannabis? Yeah, but what about like anybody remember those early days?
Like majority of the whole almost 3-year process has been dragged. Because like almost
Yeah, and
3
we ain't
years,
got shit. What
44,
do we
right?
have to show for it?
Nothing.
Like what besides?
Got a total of like
Cards,
12
right?
stores open in New York State total.
Yep.
After they said they were gonna be releasing
And here's the thing: most people don't know about them 12 stores. Only a couple of them are actually accepting and selling product. They're not. Most of them aren't even open.
Yeah.
Because the guy at Veganscape was talking about that. We only got so many SKUs, and we only have 5 stores to send it all to right now. Like, I go, what? You got 5? There's 12 licenses active in New York City or wherever in New York, and you have 5 stores that are open. What? Like, why? And we already had a. Sorry, I'm trying to say.
Nah, look,
We already had a dude step down from the OCM.
McDaniels.
He's motherfucking dipping double pockets and shit. And like to me, that just shows you, like, bro, what are we trusting right now?
Well, it could
Who's
insinuate.
doing this?
It could insinuate that, but it could
don't
also.
trust nobody, man.
It could also insinuate that was because that could have been a.
Yo, we know if they just say, oh, you a grower, apply for a license, get a license, apply for a license, get a license, right? You know how much, you know the dispensaries will be
They
better right
already
now,
have,
right?
they have
Yeah.
control over
The dispensaries will be better right now. They won't have mid-grade shit in the
Yep.
dispensaries right now.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy thing is too is
I don't know what the fuck to hold up for. Like they want to make money, right? The
They
money
want
is there. It's
control.
sitting right
Absolutely.
there.
absolutely.
Put a tax on it, get y'all tax. Growers could fucking
They don't
take
know
it
how
to the
to.
goddamn dispensary.
That's what they're.
And that's
literally
that.
what
they're
It's kind of simple. Growers could sell to the dispensary if they have a brand and everything else. And they
third
got a
party
license.
tested.
It's simple. Put the fucking tax on it.
Well, no one's setting the bar on quality too. The thing is you have these people who received licenses who were out of touch with the marketplace. So they were like, oh, any crop we grow is going to go
Most of
like
them
this.
were hemp growers first.
Yeah, but-
That's why they
well,
didn't grow weed. They grew
That was through the Department of Agriculture. That did not start with the OCM though.
no, that's what I'm saying,
Syracuse,
but a
am
lot
I
of-
right?
Here we go. Hey, no, this is South Side of Clay, buddy. So, I'm just joking. I almost got him. Yes, it's an ongoing joke here at the market. No, but what I mean is a lot of people that applied for cannabis licenses had already had hemp licenses before.
Well, that was through the Department of Agriculture though, because
what
that
I'm
was the
saying is
conditional
that
hemp
they were
license.
The original growers, like, and a lot of those they'll admit they thought it was the same as growing hemp, and it wasn't even fucking close. They lost a lot. Of
I know
money.
a couple of these
They
hemp
went through a lot
processors
of-
are talking about.
Yeah, they went through a lot of bullshit to get to where they are now, where they finally have good quality cannabis.
I'm gonna say like this. They need, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, all the growers that was out there in New York State, right? That already been learning how to grow and been doing this shit for years. Shout out to the legacy growers.
Oh my God, yeah, the legacy guys. For sure. I don't know what we're clapping
I
for.
don't know
It's
why-
for you guys.
Yo, I don't even know why they playing with them boys. Like,
I
don't know
mean,
why they playing.
well, that's the great.
Everyone loves a fucking outlaw, right?
But bro,
New York
that's
State
the
play too much, man.
that's the crazy part is that you saw them incentivize these people who frankly didn't have the credentials. Because even let's face it, if they knew how to grow weed on the West Coast, those are completely different conditions. Even if it's indoor, there's just a lot more variables that you may not have to consider in that climate that you would then have to do here. So why not and meet the people who were providers right where they were at? That would be, and I'm not an expert. Admittedly, I'm not a politician. There's probably a lot more to it than I could even imagine. However, that'd be like your go-to. That and like regulation, like testing, providing a bar in which to hold products up at. So you're just watching a lot of people who they may have had credentials, but they weren't valid here. Or they were outdated. There's a lot of variables. So it was really surprising to see that, and quite frankly disheartening. I know that there are probably many great men and women in the OCM's forces or workforce that they have. Quite frankly, I look forward to meeting, some of those fine men and women, because again, we don't know if McDaniel stepped down because he was actually to blame, or if he stepped down so that they could say he was the problem, but he stepped down. It's not our fault. Don't look at what we're doing. Meanwhile, they got that.
A little bit more.
Well, meanwhile, they got that 150 million to combat social inequity that they're supposed to be compensated for that isn't there.
You mean the one that they gave to all the white people?
No, they did 50 million and said that they're going to be piping up with 150 mil after the first 6 months of rollout, which they are not fulfilling to date.
Can I want to point out too, and maybe it's just because like I am like, I don't know, the person I am, but I find it really weird that like 80% of people that are in jail for cannabis or arrested for cannabis were of a darker skin color, but like 80% of the card licenses are going to people with a lighter skin color. Like, it's not social injustice or fixing.
Oh no, it goes deep. It goes deeper than that.
And the motherfuckers, it's lawyers and people that are already millionaires.
It goes way deeper than that. You have convicted cocaine dealers that are propped up that have these things. And I'm not against that, dude. Like, look, if that's what you're doing, but when you exclusivize it like that,
yeah, that's me. So
that's
like,
crazy.
Where's like to me, it should be 80% of the fucking card licenses should be going to people that have a darker skin color.
I mean,
statistically speaking, right?
And the craziest part is that they said that it should be going to people who are negatively impacted of the laws, i.e., people who were growing or distributing, who were made criminals under the unfair policies.
Yep.
So that's where it was supposed to go regardless. And I feel like everybody sort of had this big grab where everyone's like, oh, who's it going to go to? It should go to these people. I think that it should absolutely go to people who were made criminals by that, especially people with a record, people who have done time. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part, dude, is like back in the day, if you had a good lawyer, bro, you can get out of it. But like a lot of people, especially people who were in poverty, dude, they had the public defender's office who would just put them right into the fucking system. And it's just wild to see how far it has come, because like people will be like, oh man, you should have been alive in the 80s or in the 70s, bro. And I'm like, bullshit, fucking weed sucked in the 70s. Weed sucked dick in the 70s. But like now, dude, it's just nuts, dude. Like I don't know about you guys, but we could smoke. We don't talk about actual drugs on the show.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
It's not. I meant always.
No, I'm kidding, bro. You're good.
No,
You're good. We all had other lives. But like, dude, we can smoke damn near whatever the fuck you want, whenever the fuck you want, however you want, or eat it, or both, and there's just so many possibilities. I read that they recently found a 7th chain to THC.
Damn.
It was only thought that there could be 5 chains, and they found up to 7 now.
Shocker.
That's where it gets incredibly psychoactive. Yeah, dude, I don't know. I can't cite the source for it now, but I'm sure that I'll like drop it in the comments of the show. But it's just fucking fascinating because again, that just shows you how very astoundingly little we know about this plant. Meanwhile, we have an integral system throughout our body to process it.
I was just gonna say that. Like, did you know you had a cannabinoid system in your body?
Endocannabinoid system?
No,
Yeah.
not at all. You know why? Because they won't fucking let us research it and learn anything about it. Like, oh, that's cool. Thanks, guys.
Well, why do we
Now you see half the country is even turning to like psychedelics instead of like California legalizing stuff instead of prescription drugs, because now we're doing tests on plants and realizing, you know what? Most of the stuff you need for your body is already fucking here. We don't have to make it. It's already here somewhere.
Well, fuck yeah, dude. And I guess this will probably be a good time to like touch base on a couple of things too. Be sure to check out the Market 315 for like your consultations with you got guys who are teaching cloning classes, consultations on how to manage your grow. You got people who have soil, how to compost classes as well. Also, special shout out to the 420 CNY Canna event. Cujo Kush, Ampul's Kitchen, Urbane, the Haven Coalition, the Market 315, Canna Cuties 315, Seeds and Stems CNY, and the NY Canna event as well. Seeds and Stems, Baked by Ma, Tree Arc as well. Oh yeah, Tree 15 Farms, guys. That's a guy who is giving composting classes and stuff like that. What are your you guys wanted to like say your hours or some shit? Like
11 to 8, Sunday or Monday through Saturday, and then Sunday 11 to 4. We have our Syracuse Sundays events on Sundays, and we have a couple extra vendors. We fill up all of our different rooms with people with different expertises,
Nice.
different specialties. Try to get a little bit of everything for everybody.
Absolutely. Definitely be sure to check out Drew Lee McBurger Bun. Don't let this guy fool you. He's extremely entertaining. I look forward to doing some collabs with his alter ego, Beard Belly Blitz. If you don't know, my guy does a lot of cooking, chef cuisine things, and reviews on food as well. So I look forward to maybe this summer, doing some work with you and going some places.
But no, from Thailand.
Also, I'd also just like to shout out the Battle of the Buds in Auburn every 2 weeks. Actually, the next one's going to be here in Syracuse. I'll post that the link to that as well. Anybody got any? I think you said you had an event that you would like to talk about too, right?
Oh, I know that one of my boys' band is playing at the event out in Auburn, and it is the Team 315 Cannabis Pros Community Bonfire, June 24th. It's 6993 Clark Street in Auburn.
For sure.
So it's gonna be a bonfire and a bunch of bands and shit like that. It's $10 to get in. 21 only, obviously. Live bands, food, vendors, off-street parking, and security on site.
Dope. And D, do you have anything that you want to like touch me? I feel like we were all really stoned, and I saw you kind of kick back a little bit.
I was rolling.
What?
You're the host, but can I ask you a question?
I mean, I already asked him the question, so fuck right off, Sean.
All right.
You have the floor, my friend. Is there anything you'd like to touch base on?
Yeah, you got a question? Yeah.
Damn.
If he got a question, I want to know what his question is. What's your question, Sean?
The folks that you spoke on the back.
Should have gone with my question, dude. So that's instant karma, bro. Guys, be safe out there. We're gonna be doing a lot of driving around. I believe we got a show in Ithaca for the Battle of the Buds as well, so be on the lookout for that. Got a lot of content dropping this weekend for the Market 315, Urbane as well. Definitely big shout out to Urbane. Thank you guys for having us. Thank you guys for coming. I think we're all gonna like get stoned and do like some outtakes real quick, and then you're gonna be seeing the times are real. Anyway, thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate you guys making time out of your day to talk about a few things here. We're going to be bringing you more episodes in conjunction with Market 315. But stay informed, guys. Be sure to tune in every Wednesday for Mr. Z's Hump Day Podcast